Good evening, everyone. This is Big J along with Cheeto, and this is Trek After Dark. How you doing tonight, Cheeto?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
You know what? Believe it or not, I was actually that close to picking out the same shirt that you're wearing right now because I've got that same one in the closet, and I'm flipping through thinking, okay, well, which shirt am I going to wear tonight? And I just grabbed this one. So one of us would have had to change.
Nah, we can both be expendable. It's okay. I've had this shirt for like 2 or 3 years now. I mean, it's, I saw it online and I was like, yep, I need that, especially because that's when we started doing Trek reviews over on NerdTube. And I was like, yep, I need that one. I like it. I want it. The other one I want to get that I never got was the one that says this is my lucky red shirt.
Oh, really? I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I keep on seeing that one every now and then. And I'm like, ooh, I kind of want that one.
Right. Yeah. So, Brian, we were Cheeto and I were kind of talking about that just before we were going live here about the whole thing with Paramount and Paramount shutting down their television division again. And unless I missed it or couldn't find it, I'm not sure exactly which shows those are affecting in regards to their streaming service, because I know they keep showing, they showed that article in conjunction with a screenshot from Reacher and also from Jack Ryan.
Also, I would think Yellowstone, I think, is under Paramount Studios.
Yellowstone's under Paramount Studios. Okay. Right. So apparently Paramount Television is getting folded into CBS Studios. What I wanted to find was just how much, if anything, that would have an effect on Star Trek.
And I don't think it will at all.
I don't think so either. That was because you were saying that shouldn't have an effect because CBS has the rights to Star Trek, and Paramount Television is
the movies.
Right. Well, okay. It probably should just go away because they're making it confusing. But here's Sentai Rangers helping us out here. So Paramount Television Studios never produced a current Star Trek show, but CBS Studios does. Okay. All right. So basically the whole thing with Paramount Studios is not going to affect Star Trek.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. That was my impression. As I said, I have not researched it, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I know these things because I pretend I'm smart. No, I pretend I'm smart. I don't know about these ones.
So you're not going to say that you know everything with authority just because you know it all. You're willing to say that you're not sure, maybe confused, certainly would like to hear what others have to say about it. That seems, that's pretty bold there, Cheeto.
I know. I know. White dude in a red shirt saying something like that?
Right.
Normally we have to put our thoughts onto everything, and we spin everything to make at least a sound right.
Right. Oh yeah. I'm all for let's do the spinning to make it sound right. But so I was on vacation last week, so I wish I would have been able to make the live stream, but I was in Florida with my family and got some sun down there, which was nice. We were on the Gulf side of Florida, but first couple days there, it rained a lot because of Hurricane Debbie, and we were kind of worried there for a while if it was just going to rain through most of the vacation, and luckily it didn't. So, that was a plus. But I tell you, driving all night, I've done that lots of times before, and you just kind of get in the zone. You watch the road, you're listening to an audiobook or whatnot, but it's
you hit that age.
Right. Yeah. But Brian, I wasn't too worried driving through Florida. I just tried not to make any more stops than need be. Made sure they were in well-populated areas. I did see
rolled his windows up, locked his doors.
I did see some crazy signs. I don't want to get too much into politics, but you definitely know where you're at. driving south through here. So yeah, you kind of know where you're at in regards to the states, but you know, it was okay. But that was the trip, and we went to Disney World on the last day. Took the kids to Disney World, and they had a lot of fun with that.
That's good. I mean, we were in Disney World at the beginning of 2020. So we literally were at Disney World the month before the pandemic shut everything down. So,
oh, really?
Oh yeah. It was literally like, I think we were there at the Valentine's Day weekend. We headed down, and we were down there till about Thursday that week. Mm-hmm. Literally, what was it? March 1st, I think, that they shut everything down. Like because of the pandemic.
That seems about right. Yeah.
So yeah, we had planned this trip for a year and a half, and we had made it just in the nick of time before they shut everything down.
Oh, lucky.
I know,
yeah,
right?
You got lucky. Well, and it's funny because I think my daughter, she always wanted to go to Disney World, and cause I've got 3 kids. I've got a teenage boy, and my younger 2, a girl and boy. And my daughter, she'd always wanted to go to Disney World, and we went, and she really liked it. She enjoyed it. But the funny thing is that she's at that age now where she's grown out of like the kid oriented rides, and she's in the big people rides. And she's going to be 10 in November, but she's already at that age where, and anybody not familiar with Ohio may not get this reference, but you know, Kings Island, right? Mm-hmm. And all the, you know, the crazy rides they have and whatnot. Well,
Kings Island is down your way, right?
Yes. Yeah. Kings Island is down my way. Well, she likes the Beast, Delirium. What else they got? Just the big races. So basically any amusement park that any of you may live close to, just think of the big roller coasters, you know, the stuff that the adults get into. Well, she's graduated to that level now. And Disney World is kind of there. And we went to Magic Kingdom. So I realized that when you say Disney World,
yeah, there's 4 parks.
There are 4 parks to that. So then there's, you know, it can take some more specificity there. Well, we went to Magic Kingdom. And so Magic Kingdom, their rides gear more towards the younger side friendly. So we're not talking roller coasters. That's the word I could not get it to come out. So, you know, they didn't have the roller coaster. So she liked it, but I'd be surprised if she wanted to go back to Magic Kingdom. And I didn't have time to really look into, and if we do go again, I'm going to see, I think Epcot has kind of more of the roller coasters / you know, angle to it. I don't know that. We kind of planned it in a hurry. We weren't originally going to be going to Disney World, but this was we were leaving on Saturday, and on Thursday, my son came up with the idea of, why don't we go to Disney World? And, you know, we were thinking, well, shit, I mean, we're here. yeah. We're kind of, and it was about a 2-hour drive from where we were in Clearwater to get to Tampa. But still, it's like, yeah, you're here. Might as well go ahead and do it, because that's a lot of people. They plan vacations for that. And I said, well, next time we
went to all 4 parks. So,
oh, you went to all 4 of them?
Oh yeah. We planned. We did. Well, I take that back. We didn't do Epcot. I've done Epcot before, but we didn't do Epcot with the family just because that was more like, my kids were like 10 and 12 at that point. And so like probably around your kids' ages. So we didn't do Epcot just because that was more of an adult. Like, it's more, I know that there is still Disney stuff there and it's kind of nice for all the cultural experience, but Epcot was the one where we were like, okay, if we can shave one park off, which one do we want to? And we wanted to do Animal Kingdom. Well, I love Animal Kingdom. I think it's honestly my favorite park. Hollywood Studios and then Magic Kingdom. The kids did go to Epcot with their mom, but my side decided to stay, and that's a whole long story. But their mom decided to go to Epcot just one day, like you said, like, why not? And we were just like, yeah, no, we're not spending that. So, but for us, it was like, yeah, we picked those 3 as our main ones. But yeah, we planned our whole vacation. It was like a 1.5-year project. It was, I think there was 12 of us that went total.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
We rented a house. So long story long, might as well
that's a big group.
Put it out there. Okay, so when me and my ex got divorced, we always said that if we ever took the kids to Disney, we would do it together. That was
nice. Okay.
So, we didn't, when we divorced, I mean, you divorce, it's always messy, but like this was literally like 9 or 10 years after we divorced, so it's long time had passed.
Mm-hmm.
So we lost my train of thought. So, I mean, but that was the last big promise that we made to each other, was if we take them to Disney, we're doing it together. And so one time I was just like, you know what, we need to crap or get off the pot, trying to keep it clean,
right.
For the Kurtzman's fans out there, I'm trying to keep it clean. I'm sorry, for the Kurtzman haters, I'm trying to keep it clean.
Really keep it clean for
them. Also, thank you, K70, for subscribing to NerdTube. I greatly appreciate you over on the more simul streaming over there. Anyway, so long story long. So we decided to do this. We pulled it together. We pulled it off. There was like me, my parents, my ex, and then her husband and their 2 kids, as well as me and her 2 kids. Mm-hmm. And then we decided to invite her new husband's parents, because my ex's parents couldn't go. So I'm like, well, just invite them, because I like her husband. Like I don't have any issues with him. He's a good guy. You know what I mean? So like, and I like his parents. We see each other at softball games and all this other stuff. They treat my kids like they're their kid, like they're a part of the family, which is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any contention there. But anyway, so yeah, we had this big 12-person trip that we pulled together, and we pulled off, and there was very minimal fighting between me and my ex, which is surprising, because that's the closest proximity that we've been to each other in that long period of time for, like, as I said, like a decade at that point.
Wow. So you're probably sweating the whole time thinking, okay, how am I going to pull this one off?
We pulled it off. I figured we would, but yeah, I was like, ooh. But
and you know what? It's funny. I actually can relate this trip to Florida to Star Trek, because one night we watched Star Trek Beyond. My oldest son, of course, he and I have seen it a few times, but my 2 youngest kids, they actually sat through most of that. Now they were playing on their tablets and things like that, but that's one of those movies that if there's nothing on and you're just in the mood for Star Trek for whatever reason, I don't know. I went to that, and it's a shame that even after 8 years that we're still talking about and haven't gotten a new Star Trek movie. And Beyond really wasn't that bad, in my opinion. And that's what kind of throws me off as to, well, I know why there hasn't been a jump by the studio to make another movie after that. It's because even though it did okay, it didn't make as much as the studio wanted. So that's kind of the thing, is you've got to make tons of money, lots of profit, to get in talk about another movie. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's really, I really don't have a whole lot of problems with it, except for what I think was kind of the foolish decision by Kirk to not get the Enterprise to haul ass away from Ultimate as soon as shit even looked like it wasn't going to go well with those swarm fighters. I mean,
right? That was,
when you have when the smartest guy in your ship says that you're not equipped for that manner of engagement, then you get your ass out of there, like right now. Well, by that point, it was already a little bit too late, but
warp speed backwards, because you know you can do that, right? Like technically, with the way the warp bubble works, you could technically just warp speed backwards.
You can?
Yeah. With the way like if a warp bubble surrounds you,
yes,
and then you start to slide that warp bubble, you can go backwards.
You're right.
So technically, you don't even have to turn around. You could just literally bloop and go backwards.
You raise a very interesting point as to.
I mean, if somebody that's what I
maybe someone can challenge this. I don't see a flaw in your logic. I think you're right that it's a bubble. You're bending space and
you're bending space around you. So if you tell your ship to move backwards, and they move ships backwards all the time. So that's why I'm like.
Now you can't, once you start going in a direction, you're not supposed to be making turns or moving. Now, Kelvin Timeline Trek, J.J. Abrams Trek kind of played a little loose with your movements while at warp. You may recall the line from Tom Paris in Voyager, faster than light, no left or right, which implies when you're at warp, you're going and you're not moving. Well, you're going forward. You can't turn left or right. You have to, or maybe gradually change your course. I don't know what it is. You can't be bobbing and weaving and banking like they do in the Kelvin timeline. But you're right about that. I don't see any reason why they couldn't just go to warp in reverse and then go forward. I don't know. Are there any warp theorists out there in the audience?
That's just always how I've assumed it, because I think
that's good. I think you're right.
I think I remember seeing a video that they say is that you could go warp. And as I said, with the way starships are built, I don't know, but it's like the way the nacelles are built. Yes, they look like the red's on front. So the blue part that goes around the back, like for next gen, so you think, and then the lights come out kind of on the back. So you're thinking, oh, well, it's pushing them that way. But who's to say that's not for just aesthetic purposes? Like if you built a ship with warp nacelles on both sides, who's to say they can't go either way? Or like do they even need a nacelle on the other side to push it the other way? What pushes them through warp? What does the warp drive do? As I said, I know it creates a force bubble or a warp bubble, but like what propels a ship and that bubble through space?
Right.
Is it the impulse engines? I mean, is it the nacelles? But like, there's no real. I don't feel like there's no propulsion coming out of those nacelles. I just feel like it's creating the warp bubble.
It's just creating the bubble. So the actual forward momentum of it, you're right. I never really dug that much into it. I just kind of took it as it has to go that way. It has to go in that orientation. But you're right. Well, the thing is, though, that's how we've always seen it. That's how it's always been done.
As I said, it's an aesthetic thing. Like when you boldly go, you're normally going forward. Unless you can't find reverse.
Not sideways.
Yeah, you can't look sideways. But that's what I'm saying. Like, what makes the ship go besides Ortega's? Like.
And K70, you say you like Beyond was better than the first two.
I agree.
Oh, I really liked Star Trek 2009. I didn't dislike Star Trek Into Darkness, but I didn't pick that one. Of the three Kelvin Timeline movies, if there was one that I was going to pick to watch while family was sitting around, I picked Beyond. You're probably asking, okay, well, why didn't you pick Star Trek 2009 or Into Darkness? I don't know. It's not that I don't like those. I don't have anything per se against Into Darkness. The only beef that I've got with that one, honestly, is
Super Blood.
Not so much that. It's that I really think that I want to be in the room for the decision makers to say we should fool the audience with this character that Benedict Cumberbatch is playing as John Harrison, as this made up Starfleet's gone rogue guy. To be perfectly honest with you, I think that they should have leaned into the promotion and marketing of that movie of being Khan being used as the character, as seeing a Kelvin timeline depiction of, well, what would be different in this timeline if Khan were discovered early, instead of saving it as a surprise that only the fans would get. In context of the scene of his reveal meant nothing in the actual movie itself, if you really think about it.
Well, and honestly, I feel like they did that because they were afraid the fans would turn on them. And don't get me wrong, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a fantastic actor.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the wrong choice for Khan, just because they really should have more gone closer to the source with
Yes.
Khan. I feel like
Yes.
he would have made a great Romulan. And I
Yes.
know they just did Romulans in the last movie, so I get it, where it's like the Borg. But like Benedict Cumberbatch would have been such a great Romulan, in my opinion. I don't know.
Who would you have liked for Khan?
Huh?
Who would you have liked for Khan?
I'd have to think about it. I'm terrible at casting. Let me be clear. I am very terrible at casting. So I can sit here and say Benedict Cumberbatch was wrong all the live long day. I cannot give you an alternative unless I like seriously ponder on it for like 7 days and 7 nights. Like,
yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. It's tough to say who you would have liked for. Ooh, okay. Jason Momoa as Khan. Now that
would have got ladies
interesting.
To the Star Trek theater.
That would have gotten your female audience into the theater to watch a Star Trek movie. Yes. Oh, you know who else would have been good? Oh my God, why can I not think of his name? He played. He was in Star Wars. Poe. Who played Poe?
Oscar Isaac. Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
I could have seen Oscar Isaac as a Khan.
Oscar Isaac could have been Khan.
Dude,
Jason
Oscar
Momoa.
Isaac can do anything. I am convinced. Yeah. Like if you watch him in Moon Knight and even in X-Men Apocalypse, although he didn't have much to work with, he was still pretty good. Like you can tell he had a crap script to work with, but he was still good.
Yes, and so I think, in my opinion, they totally did not go regionally acceptable actors that could have played Khan. And when I say regional, I think you know what I mean when we say Benedict Cumberbatch was not a good pick, whereas Jason Momoa or Oscar Isaac would have been a better pick, considering Ricardo Montalban's the origins and ethnicity as to the eastern region of the world that Khan was told to have come from.
Yes, I agree.
With Benedict, they went totally like this way. Like, no, that's totally the wrong.
Far western.
You went
well,
British
not Western United States, but like Western, of Eurasia. Like.
Exactly. Yes, and I honestly think that was your casting decision was probably in part based on the surprise that you wanted to have.
Yeah,
I think if they would have cast someone within the correct regional actor, that would have, I think we would have seen it coming. Okay, that's, and I don't know that we would have seen that coming just by.
People saw it coming. I mean, I heard about it before the movie came out, and they were doing a really crazy job trying to hide who he was.
That was rumored right away. I'm trying to remember.
It was rumored pretty heavily. There was also something in the comics that made people think that too, because there was like a prequel comic about John Harriman, or not John Harriman. What's his name?
John Harrison.
There was a prequel comic about him, about that, and then people were saying that there was some things said in that kind of led people to lean towards, well, no, he's Khan. So I think they should have I think they should have casted correctly. And as I said, I think that Benedict would have made a great, even a villain for Star Trek 3. I like Idris Elba, but like, I don't think the villain of that movie was that great. You know what I mean? Like, I love him. I mean, he should be, in my opinion, Idris Elba should be the next James Bond, in my opinion. But white people have to have their bond, I guess, because we haven't had enough as it is.
Oh, you if you had to give me Javier Bardem as Khan, holy shit.
I don't know who that is. Javier what? Bardem?
Yeah. He's let me pull up some things he's been in. I'm sure as soon as I start naming off.
Yeah, I'm terrible. As I said, I'm bad with casting. So
he was in Skyfall. Speaking of James Bond,
right?
He was a villain in Skyfall.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Dune Part 2.
I have not seen either of the Dunes.
You haven't seen either of the Dunes, okay?
I know that's a whole nother topic for another day. I could talk about. The Little Mermaid. Haven't seen that one.
Trying to think what else would you have likely seen that he's been in? I'm just looking here. What would have been
Collateral? I've seen that one, but it was so long ago. It's not even funny.
No Country for Old Men.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Anton Sugar, crazy dude. Okay, I haven't seen that. Man, you need to watch more movies. You need to be rattling these.
I mean, I watch a lot of movies. Right? I just don't watch all the people ones with. What was it? Javier
Bardem. Yeah,
I don't recognize him. I'm kind of looking at pictures and things. As I said, I mean, he's been in. I've seen some of these movies, but I'm assuming he just didn't have big roles in them. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, I've seen. Although Dead Men Tell No Tales, have I seen? I may not have seen that one because I kind of gave up after that. Skyfall, I've seen a long time ago, back when it first came out, and I don't remember. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Dunes. He was in the original Pirates of the Caribbean. Who was he in that?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I closed out IMDb.
That's all right. All right, anyway.
So basically, anyway, I think that what has plagued Into Darkness, even up to this point, is that the whole thing, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that the fans felt like that they were insulted by the casting. I think
they were insulted by the writing.
By the writing, okay, sure.
Let's figure. Like as I said, I didn't mind Beyond or Into Darkness all that much. Are you talking about Beyond or Into Darkness?
Into Darkness.
I felt like Into Darkness though was very J.J. Abrams. He went very safe to the well. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what Abrams does. He goes like the whole reverse Wrath of Khan thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Like going for Khan. Like that's J.J. Abrams. And whenever he's attached to a project, that's when I'm like, okay, so we're not. And as I said, I like The Force Awakens, but I acknowledge the fact that it is just a rebranded New Hope. You know what I mean? Like it really is. So, and I liked it. And as I said, I didn't care. I didn't hate Into Darkness. I thought there were some really good things. And like the fight scene between Spock and Khan was really good.
That was a good fight
on the trash heap or whatever that thing was.
Yeah,
the transport.
So you're right. J.J. Abrams does kind of has a tendency to go with what's safe, and I also think he plays secrecy too much. Like the big twist. He likes his big twist. Not to spoil Lost or Alias, but that's some of J.J. Abrams' early work, and also Mission Impossible 3. And I tell you what, he loves secrets.
But actually, Mission Impossible 3, I really liked. So I was really surprised. I was really surprised when I really liked that movie. Because Mission Impossible 3 and 4 are two of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the new one?
Not Dead Reckoning. I have not seen Dead Reckoning yet. I just need to sit down and watch it. I've literally watched like one movie, which is Deadpool and Wolverine, over the past year. Like, and I know that.
What's keeping you out of movies?
I know. I'm really been bad this year. I just have been so busy,
Well, as long as you're keeping up with Star Trek, that's all we ask.
Well, yeah, but there's not really been any Star Trek movies, so no other reason for me to go.
True. Well, not just Star Trek movies, but the different.
Oh yeah, I'm keeping up with the shows. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, if you're not doing that, then we might have shame you.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would shame myself. I would put myself into exile on a swamp planet known as Dagobah. Oh wait! I'm crossing universes. I'm crossing franchises. Oh no!
Don't cross the streams, Ray.
right? Don't cross the streams.
Oh, I've got something I know that you would like to hear being a gamer. So I picked up Star Trek Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy game that was on Steam.
Is it called Supernova?
Yes. Yeah.
I've never played it. I've seen a little bit of it, but I've never played it.
On sale. I put it in my wish list on Steam. Then went on sale. I decided to go ahead and pick it up and add it to my long list of games that I've bought that I haven't played yet. If I stop buying games right now, it would probably take me a good year to catch up on everything that's been in my pending list. But they're installed, they're there. What I have to stop doing is I have to stop going back to the ones that I've played that I like. And it's like, okay, move on. Move away from it. Uninstall GTA 5. Uninstall Monster Hunter World. Yes, those are great games that you can sit and play all the time, anytime, but you've got all this other stuff that's in your list.
You know what really helped me with that is streaming. Like when I started streaming, because now I have this docket list that on my Twitch that like people expect me like to play. Like after I get done with this, I'm going to do this, and after this, and so like I actually have this docket list of games, and I'm like, okay, I have no choice. Like either I tell my fans, the people that actually watch me, I'm changing the rules, and play something else. But like I kind of have this docket together where it's like, okay, after I play Armada 2, I'm going to play Space Station Sim, and after Space Station Sim, I'm going to play this, and so it's like it kind of gives me. It makes me play the games that I've like got on my docket, and so I can go back to the well, but it's like, and play the older games, but I still have that docket that I have to keep up with because I usually stream 2 or 3 times a week. So it forces me to keep on playing those games, which I'm not saying play it if you don't like it. Like if you don't like it, then stop. But that's kind of my thing is like, and some of these games I have played in the past, but I've never played them in the modern day, so. Yeah.
K70, thanks for joining us and thanks for staying up late. Looks like you're in the UK. So yeah, you definitely need to get some sleep and we should check that out. So he's got a fan film.
Yep. He was supposed to drop me a link. Over on NerdTube, he was talking about us checking out his, the first 2 chapters. It says me and Animated created. So I don't know what Animated is. It might be a channel that they're partnered with or something. But okay. I told him to drop me a link so we can check it out.
Yeah, always up for seeing some good Star Trek fan films. That's always exciting. And talked with Alec throughout the week, and work is still progressing and happening on Axanar, on the 2 episodes that we've been waiting anxiously for. And that's being worked on, and it is going to happen. Was hoping he'd be able to join us tonight to give us some updates, but he was not able to make it. I hope all is well and everything's going great. But the VFX work is still being done there, and not a lot of huge updates. So I know hopefully I'm not lambasted too much for not having a whole lot to update on Axanar as it is right now. So the takeaway from this live stream,
Trek After Dark and not Axanar After Dark.
Well, the takeaway is going to be Big J has nothing to say about Axanar, and so it's dead. No, that's not the takeaway there. So yeah, but it's going to get there. We're going to get there and going to have it. But I'm that Star Trek Prodigy game. It's on my list. Going to be playing that hopefully soon-ish. I don't know. Got that.
Well, let me know what you think of it. As I said,
I'll do that.
On my gaming channel, I do try to have one Star Trek game running, like playing one Star Trek game at all times. So, I mean, eventually I'll run out of Star Trek games, and I'll eventually get to that, I'll eventually probably check that one out, so.
Right. And they've got they've also got the Star Trek, the 4-pack games, 25th anniversary, Judgment Rights, Starfleet.
Oh yeah, I've played
Academy,
all those.
And what's the other one? I forget the 4th one, but I got those two. I should have waited for it to go on sale on my wish list. I kind of forgot that Steam has this thing, and it's happened so many times, and I jumped the gun too early on Star Trek, but find games that you want or that you like, put it on your wish list. Just put it on there and wait.
Star Trek games always go on sale, but they never go above, I think it's 30% or 20%, 25% off or something like that. They never go above that because of licensing, I think.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never seen them less than that. I think it's like $7.47 or something like that. But I've never really seen them below that if it's like a Star Trek licensed game.
Ah, interesting. You still got to make your money off of a game that's 30 years old when it comes to some of these older ones.
Mm-hmm.
But it always seems like when I put a game on my wish list, I don't know if there's some kind of what algorithm they have, or if there's this thing that kind of detects wish list items, but I almost always get things to go on sale on a wish list not long after I put it on there. And it just, like the Space Quest collection. I just picked up the Space Quest collection. I put that on my wish list. A few days later, it goes on sale. Now you're telling me that
a lot of stuff goes on sale on Steam and on GOG. Like, I mean, like there are sales all the time.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seems like they know when I've got money I should not be spending on games.
Oh yeah, I mean, me too. Like they know. I'm like, I'll get to this game eventually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, but then some of the ones that I really want have not gone on sale yet. So I'm waiting for that. But other than that, those are my first world problems, is not having enough time for playing video games.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Shouldn't be that way, but it is.
Yep. All right, we got to stop. We got to talk about something else.
Yeah, really. More Star Trek. I saw there was. I want to talk about Marvel just for a moment, if I can. Saw the new trailer for Brave New World, the new Captain America movie, and I'm glad that they're finally addressing the big ass thing that was part of the planet that we saw in the Eternals. Have you seen the preview?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen clips of the trailer that was shown at Comic-Con and D23, and I mean that there were leaks that came out for a while that kind of shown what was going to happen, like that adamantium was going to be the celestial. Like apparently Cersei turned the celestial into adamantium when she froze it because it's an unbreakable metal. So basically the celestial, I don't know if the celestial is alive in there still or not, but I mean, you would think it's dead. Right.
Yeah. So that's getting addressed, which I'm glad that's finally come around, because there's just out in the air. There's been a lot of comments about that how has this thing not been addressed in any Marvel show or movie since the Eternals? And it's like, well, but to what end? I mean, what's supposed to be done or said about it? I'm just glad that now that there finally is some kind of follow-up mention to it, because it does seem to be like a pretty big deal, but I have a hard time with scale anyway, like just imagining.
I mean, it's in the middle of the Indian Ocean, so I mean, granted, satellites would pick it up like that. My big thing about that celestial body coming out, and this is the whole problem with the Eternals movie, is the Earth would be effed. Like if there was literally something coming out of the core of the Earth and it made it that far, we would be screwed. Like the Earth would, the plates, the Earth, everything would kind of fall apart. I get gravity's holding it together, but like when you have something of that mass literally coming out of the planet, like the Earth would be screwed. Its magnetic field would be screwed. Its gravitational pull with the sun and the moon would be screwed. Like we would, I mean, if our planet if its orbit is altered in any way, we could be looking at the hottest summers ever where we would die, or the coldest winters where we would die. Like, we are literally in that perfect habitable zone. And if you like insert a mass like that into our planet, and then you shift it, like the planet's screwed. Like, that's my big problem with the Celestial and Eternals. I think the Eternal should have been a period piece. I think it should have taken place back, in the flashbacks in the movie when they were rulers or whatever. I don't remember what period it was. Was it the what era was it? It was the
I saw the movie, but I'm having a hard time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, like the height of the Egyptian empire,
but like, I think
or whatever.
I think that this should have been a period piece around that time. I don't think there should have been a celestial body or anything. I just think it should have been like some of the basics of the story were still there, but it was a period piece back then.
Right.
I don't think it should have been in modern day.
Why is that? Why do you say that?
Because it didn't fit. It didn't make any sense. If you want to end the movie in modern times, that's fine. Like Captain America, the First Avenger, most of it took place. The majority of it took place in 1940s. For the First World War or Second World War.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, that's when you kind of got up to speed. I feel like with the Eternals, you could have had this whole like period piece. And then either one of two things could happen. Either at the very end of the movie, like after all of it's said and done and the fight was done, like between the Celestials and the Civil War with them or whatever, like the Celestials show up and take the Eternals with them. And then either A, they show back up on Earth, or B, they return to Earth looking for something at the end of the movie. And then you can kind of like lead into then like Eternals 2 or into future Marvel products. I actually thought the premise of Eternals was good. I like the idea of the Eternals, but the problem was the execution of it just was not very good.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And apparently there was a sequel that was being planned that's been dropped.
Oh yeah,
Did you hear about that?
Yep.
I'm surprised that there was even going to be a sequel to it. I didn't think it was that good. And maybe was that just another case of, well, the fans will watch anything that says Marvel?
No, it was more back when Marvel didn't have the rights to the X-Men, and they didn't think they were going to have the rights. Because keep in mind, Eternals was announced years ago, before the Fox Disney deal was even thought of. So they tried it with the Inhumans, didn't work. So now they were going to try to build this team from the Eternals. And while Eternals was a heavy production, that's when the Fox Disney deal started up. But they were already so far in production of Eternals, it's not like they can like switch gears. They were just like, well, we might as well finish it and do it. Like they were already there. I mean, I think the Fox Disney deal was what, 2021, 2020? Maybe I'm trying to remember the actual dates of when it started. But Eternals was already like, I think in post-production at that point.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, Marvel was desperately trying to find their X-Men, but not X-Men, because Fox owned the X-Men. So that is why that's why we got that Inhumans TV series. They were desperately trying to find their X-Men. Even in the comic books, there was a big push because they literally did it, the No More Mutants thing with Scarlet Witch, to get rid of the X-Men in the comic books, because they were pushing Marvel-owned properties from the movies, even in the comic books. That's why the Inhumans became such a big deal in the comic books. And then once the Fox Disney deal went through, oh, look, X-Men are starting to come back, and they're all starting to filter back in. Like the only one they really kept around was Wolverine.
Well, if you're going to use any character, any X-Man, you're going to use Wolverine, because he's the most popular one. He's the one that the kids want to be for Halloween and want the toys, the Wolverine toys and everything else. So yeah, I can definitely see that. Well, but we'll just have to see to see how that goes there.
Well, fortunately now the X-Men are back with Marvel, and we will actually have proper X-Men in the MCU eventually. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying like eventually.
It needs to happen. It needs to happen soon. It should happen.
Well, after the multiverse saga is over, it'll be the mutant saga. Like, see what happens in Secret Wars is directly going to impact whether, you know, how Marvel moves forward with like the X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and all of these things. Because truth be told, I think Avengers has kind of served its purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I think I think the Avengers are kind of done for, in my opinion. I know they're doing Avengers Doomsday, and I'm like, don't want that. Honestly, I don't. I want Doctor Doom. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Avengers Doomsday. Like, and bringing Downey back is just a massive. It's a massive cry for help from them creatively. Where it's like, Robert Downey Jr. will do good with it. He will knock it out of the park because he is good. And the Russo brothers, I trust them. But for me, it's just like, why? And it's going to be Tony
They got to
Stark.
save the franchise.
Yeah, and it's got to be Tony Stark, Doctor Doom. It's not going to be Victor Von Doom. From what I understand, it's not going to be Victor Von Doom. It just looks like Tony Stark. No, it is going to be Tony Stark's Doctor Doom from whatever universe. And I'm like, I don't want that. I wanted them to introduce a Victor Von Doom in the MCU that was there already, or at least in this Fantastic Four movie, and you know, hire a younger good actor, you know, just get, you know, just to, you know, I don't know. The Robert Downey Jr. thing just doesn't sit well with me. It just really doesn't.
Got a question for you. I want to get your opinion on this. So Robert Downey Jr. is being used as the savior of the Marvel franchise. It's not going well. It's kind of on the slide. Who do you bring in to try to get it back on track? You get Robert Downey Jr. Who was that for Star Trek? Who was the person who's sitting out there in the wings that needs to come back to Star Trek to?
They already did it. Jean-Luc Picard.
Back out. You think it was Patrick Stewart?
I think it was Patrick Stewart is the one. They already did it. They brought Patrick. Now, granted, they didn't bring him back as a separate character, although by the end of season 1 they kind of did. But
I'd like to have that discussion. That's a whole discussion. I
could tear that to pieces. I hate that. But yeah,
we're sorry. We meant Sir.
So sorry, Sir Patrick Stewart. You are correct. I am sorry, Sir Patrick Stewart. But yes, I believe that was Patrick Stewart was them bringing him back. And I think it was in the cards originally anyway. They knew that they had, because here's the thing is that the MCU's been going strong for all these years. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of petered out. Like, and then it still was making stuff, but it just wasn't as good. I think the goal in the beginning was, okay, let's bring out Discovery. Let's do this Picard series, you know, because they're like, we need something to hook people back in. And obviously Discovery wasn't doing it. So right, I think that they were more like, hey, we need to rope the people back in. So we're going to do our new thing, which is Discovery. And then we're going to do Picard, which is, you know, our thing to kind of rope the older audience back in, you know?
Yeah. I really think that at that time, because I remember when San Diego Comic-Con, just watching all the clips and the announcement from when Patrick Stewart announced that Jean-Luc Picard would be back. And it really felt like at that time, and of course the dislike for Discovery was rampant, but it really felt like suddenly people got behind Star Trek in a hurry when Patrick Stewart was coming back. And holy shit, was I excited about that announcement. I think everyone was.
I was excited about the premise when they said that he was not in Starfleet. He was not I was like, ooh, that means we're going to get kind of like this Picard that's like, almost like, what's the episode where he's like, he's kind of like a privateer, like with this group of people. I can't remember the name of the episodes, but there was Next Gen.
I know
episodes.
what you're talking about. Yes.
I just don't remember the names of the episodes, but like,
I was Gambit. I think you're thinking about the Gambit.
Yeah, maybe Gambit. Yeah, Mon Ami.
But he was kind of not so much under mind control, but he had like he
had an alias. He was undercover.
Yes. Yeah, he was like forcefully elicited into this group of pirates and thugs. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But like, that's what I would like. Okay, so Picard's not in Starfleet. It's not a show about Starfleet. We'll get to see like this. So there were a lot of things about Picard season 1 that I actually liked. I liked the La Sirena. I loved the holograms of like the captain, Rios, like all the different holograms. I'm just like, how great. Like, yes, you have your hologram doctor from Voyager, but it's like, I love that you have the ability to play as like all these different characters on this ship, and you get to play with that with a bunch of holograms. You know what I mean? Like, there were some good things in Picard season 1. 7 of 9 coming back, although there were some questionable decisions with that. I still loved seeing 7 of 9 again and seeing where she went after she got back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought that was spectacular. Now at first, when it was announced that Jerry Ryan would be returning as 7 of 9, I was thinking, how's that going to work? What's the angle there? But it ended up being perfect. Like of all the characters to bring in and what they did with the progression of that character, and also having her not be in Starfleet, she's a Fenris Ranger, and that's an audiobook I'm listening to right now. If anyone is into audiobooks, I've been listening to Firewall, and that's a Star Trek audiobook by David Mack, and it's centered around character of 7 of 9 and her time, how she became a Fenris Ranger. Very good audiobook. I've really enjoyed listening to it. But and also there was a comment in here about season 3 of Picard. Very good season. I mean, that's a season of a show that I've actually had on my to-do list to watch again. It was that good. So yeah, you're right. And you know, because the reason I asked that about who is the savior of Star Trek when it comes to kind of a comparison to Robert Downey Jr. with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I keep thinking, are we going to get William Shatner back in there before he's gone, or is he done? Is there to be no more William Shatner in Star Trek?
I hope not. I hope we do not see William Shatner again. I just don't like the guy. He's just kind of, as I said, I mean, Kirk is one thing. I'm not a big fan of Kirk, and that's one thing. But like William Shatner is just kind of, he treated some of his co-stars pretty poorly. And I know he did. I know he did do some things behind the scenes that helped like civil rights movements and stuff like that, like screwing up every single take of him not kissing Uhura to make sure that scene did get out there. And okay, that's great. But I mean, you hear the stories about him just treating his co-stars like garbage, and like George Takei talking about how, you know, Shatner pretty much wanted to take up all of the screen time from everybody. And it just doesn't make me like him. You know what I mean? It just does. I don't want him back. I think he's too old anyway. He's like 93 now, 94. You know, like I don't want him back. I really don't, you know. I was going to bring up the person, Robert Picardo. I don't think he's at the level of Picard coming back to save, but like a lot of people are buzzed about Robert Picardo coming back for Starfleet Academy.
I'm still curious as to how that's going to work. And I think he's
a hologram.
Well, yes. I mean, yes, he's a hologram. However, Robert Picardo as a person, as an actor, he's not ageless. So are we talking de-aging?
Just have them do what Q did. Just be like, oh, I just decided to upgrade my look to make me look more stoic. That's all I need. Like that with Picard season 2, when Q showed up, he looked like his normal self, and he's like, oh, mon capitan, how you've aged. Allow me to catch up or whatever. And then he did. That was it. I was done. I was perfect. I'm like, that's perfect.
Perfect. Done.
Fantastic.
All you need to do.
That's all I needed.
I'm sure they'll come up with a good reason as to why there's this, old, hundreds years old holographic program still in use, or being brought back in use again. You're right. I'd like to see how they're going to write it and how they're going to pull that one off. So yeah, that's a shame that we may never see William Shatner the screen again in Star Trek, but it is what it is. You're right. Maybe we got what we got with the Patrick Stewart coming back with Picard, and Star Trek doesn't need saving. At least William Shatner wouldn't be the one to save Star Trek, like they're getting Robert Downey Jr. to do. I'm just going to say RDJ for short, to do for Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I said, Russo brothers, I'm glad they're back for Avengers movies. I think they did a fantastic job. I just don't want this Robert Downey, this Tony Stark Doctor Doom. I really don't. I wanted a actual Doctor Doom, and them throwing this curve. And as I said, I wouldn't have minded if Robert Downey showed up in one of the Avengers, like the Secret Wars Avengers movie, as a different. I would love to see the Stark Supreme, like the Sorcerer Supreme Stark version in Secret Wars. Multiverse. I don't mind seeing multiversal versions of RDJ's Tony Stark. Like I don't mind that. Like I don't want them to backpedal ever. I don't want them to backpedal on RDJ's Tony Stark MCU, sacrifice. Right. I don't want that. Like if a variant shows up, fine. I don't mind. Just don't replace RDJ's Iron Man, or don't magically bring him back to life is my thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Don't walk it back. That's like with everyone says, oh, Chris Evans is coming back. I don't want Chris Evans back. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I love Steve Rogers Captain America, but I don't want him back. They had the perfect send-off. And honestly, I really like, after watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I liked him before that. And in the comic books, I like his Sam Wilson's Captain America as well. Mm-hmm. I want that Captain America. I want that Captain America to be able to literally spread his wings and fly. And that's what I'm hoping that Brave New World is going to give us, that opportunity for Sam Wilson's Captain America to prove to us, yes, he is just as good as Steve Rogers.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Cheeto,
I know,
thank you for it is time. Yes. Time to get out of here. I've got some games to play and some more Netflix to watch.
Brian was just typing out his time check. Beat you to it.
Beat me to the time check. Yeah, you know me. Hey, we made it for an hour. We stretched this baby out and came up with something.
I thought it was good conversation.
Yes, absolutely. It's good. Well, thank you everyone for coming out tonight for some Trek After Dark. I'm going to be doing some video gaming now and some watching of Netflix. Cheeto, thank you for taking out the time tonight to sit and talk about Star Trek and Marvel and all of that stuff.
You know me, baby, always ready to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what else is there to do?
Play video games, apparently.
You got it. All right, everyone. Goodbye. Good night. Have a good night. Peace.
Long